I feel like I'm a little starstruck right now. I'm
Oh,
a
let's see.
little, I, ladies, I've been following Adrian and Elise for a few years now. There's a few different astrologers that I follow, and this amazing woman is literally my favorite. Every time I listen to her, she is so on point with, the transits. And not only, the work that I'm doing that seems to be happening for me days before these alignments take place, then she'll come on with this video and just boom, confirmation after confirmation after confirmation of a lot of internal work that I'm doing on my journey to healing and awakening, and the work I do with my clients as well. So it is such an honor to be here with you today. And I just would like to say a really heartfelt thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for your courageous transparency and honesty about things going on in the world, and not being fearful in speaking that truth. And it's just great confirmation for people who have these truths, awakening in them to see someone else out there talking about them, and that we're not crazy. We're not making this stuff up. And it's so great. I am so inspired by you and really honored to be here with you today. And I'm going to go ahead and mute out and let you do your thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Liliana, am I saying that right?
It's Lalania, and I'm on Facebook as Lalania Marie. I'm pretty sure I sent your.
Okay, great. I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lalania.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I'd love to just kind of say hello to everybody who's here, and I can kind of see here saying hello to Susan, Andrea, Judy, and Layla, and Melissa, and Lilania. Sorry. Yeah, so let's get started. I am excited to talk to you guys about this energy that's going on right now. As we shift right now, pretty much right now, like this week, right now, today, we are moving into this new territory and feeling this 2019 energy. And so it's super dynamic. I'm going to talk a little bit about like what's going on right now, and then 2019 and kind of, the whole energy of preparing for this year ahead. And then I'll have some time for questions. And I just had a little bit of a mini conflict this night with my boyfriend's Christmas party, work Christmas party. So I'm gonna make sure to keep it a little bit concise tonight, and hopefully you guys can have some lively discussion. And I would love to have you join me in the videos and the live activations that I do. Also, I have a solstice group session coming up, and we'll kind of talk about that as well. And so that is happening on the solstice at the exact time of the solstice, leading up into the solstice. That's Friday the 21st, and this is a group session. I've been doing these on special days like eclipses and equinox and solstices. And so it's a pretty special time to come together. It's through Crowdcast. It's $20. And what we do is do like a group intuitive session. So what I do professionally is I read past lives and help people clear stuff from past lives, and, get a sense of what's going on by looking at it kind of psychically in the astral plane and the Akashic records. So that is what we do for the group. So we're looking at shared life pictures. And what's been going on for me right now in this time in my practice is that I'm shifting into, and a little bit about me quickly, maybe before I get into that, but I started out as a classical, my first healing modality was as a classical homeopath, and that's amazing work. But I was too sensitive to do it. And so I started these clairvoyant classes, this work on, holding your energy, intuitive training, and psychic training to be able to get a handle. And I realized I was really had abilities there. And so I've been doing that professionally and teaching as well. I'm also a Waldorf trained teacher, and have just been a student of trying to figure out and get some clarity and learn about spiritual stuff for my whole life. And definitely have felt like this feeling that there are other people out there like me. Here, you guys are evidence, right? You know, but also identifying with these types of souls like me, other places and around the world that are feeling the same way, like kind of not at home completely on planet Earth and in their body. And so I've been on a quest to kind of understand that and been developing information that's been coming through my individual sessions. And that is allowing me to get some downloads about what's happening with these souls. And I've been calling them indigo souls. It's kind of a broad reaching category. And within the indigo category, there's also crystals and rainbows and diamonds and who knows what else. And I try not to get into much to the categorization, but there's this feeling of being like, you know, not quite on the right planet. And actually, you're here for a very special purpose. And so I found that reaching out on YouTube with these messages, people have been finding me who are just like, oh my gosh, you know, finally somebody's making sense of what's happening to me. And it's just so important right now and crucial for us to come together. So the next chapter of my work is about this, building this soul groups energy. Basically, Edgar Cayce is a really famous psychic, and what he came through his sessions was that so these souls come together in groups, you know, and it's particularly these indigo souls with very specific patterns and similar past lives. And, you know, a lot of us don't even know each other, but we're here. And so there's this a whole set of attributes and story behind these souls. And so I've been working on that and putting it into a book. But basically it's this long of the short of it is that we've had lots of these souls. And if you're interested, if you're here, you're showing up, this is you, have had lots and lots of lifetimes and evolutions and ascension, you know, complete ascension experiences before we ever came to this earth evolution. And so we are here to help with the transition. We're also here for our own karmic obligations, working things out, and all that. But so it's a long, involved story. But anyway, hopefully there will be an actual book. And if you get a session with me, that would be a lot of what might come up about these past lives, your patterning in past lives. And then in this new year, I want to do more group work to bring this kind of feeling of community around moving forward into this new energy, releasing these stories of the past, because these souls have often been traumatized by kind of targeted over lifetimes because they're kind of a threat to the status quo and to that control energy. And so anyway, again, long involved story, but I wanted to just leave the energy open for tonight, and we don't have a ton of time, but we have plenty of time as well. And I wanted to just be open to whatever you guys talking about this new energy and new year energy we're moving into, and I'll get into that. And I want to leave time for questions as well. But, you know, I kind of wanted to leave it open to whatever your soul group, you know, needs to hear tonight. And the messages that might be coming through, particularly for you. So we can kind of just leave it open and see what we have time for. I'm going to talk through right now a little bit of the energies right now of the current astrology, like today and tomorrow and this week and leading up to the solstice. And so you can find me on YouTube. My YouTube name is Adrian Elise, and I typically try to do daily updates every few days, and then new moon, full moon updates, and you can find out more about my events there. That's my main platform. And it really helps me a lot if you subscribe and share and like, and that stuff really helps the message get out there. So I haven't been able to do a video, and I actually had somebody email me, because sometimes I'm just like, I'm disconnected, and that's part of my 2019 goals, is to become more connected with my audience and stuff. And you know, I haven't gotten a video done this week, and so I had an email today, and I have no idea who this person is, and she's like, I haven't gotten an email, I haven't seen a video, is everything okay? Like, you know, are you okay? Is this gonna keep happening? Because I like them and I like to share them, and I'm like, yes, it's okay. It's okay. I will be back, you know? And it was kind of cool though, because it confirmed, because I just don't necessarily get the feedback of what's happening for people on the other side of the experience. So it was kind of cool. And part of the thing I'm going to do to address that is create a Patreon account, which is like, if you wanted to be part of the Patreon, then you have special little daily, weekly things just for that group. And that creates an intimacy and a trust. And, you know, I just want to build community and connect with my audience and start a movement really, you know, but I don't know what that movement is yet. So we'll see. Be a part of a movement, you know, instigate.
Well, we want to be a part of it for sure.
Yay, awesome.
In on the movement.
Yay, yeah. And the energy that's coming forward around that is just the concept, as far as in beginning to bring it into form, is full potential. That we have so much and we're playing so small and we're scared and we're kind of like just getting through life, you know. And what would this world look like if we were fully using our skills, our abilities, our capabilities? And so that's going to be basically the main theme of this movement. I feel like is just, we'll just see what happens with them. Okay, so right now we are finally feeling this energy of moving out of this retrograde 2018. I mean, I don't know if you guys felt it, but like, whoa, we have been on this very confusing inward journey going here, there, everywhere since May of this year. And this is finally shifting right now. Okay, so we've had Chiron just turn direct. That was on Sunday. And this energy of all these retrograde planets are shifting now with that. So in the next couple of weeks, Mercury and then Venus and also Saturn come out of their retrograde shadow, meaning like, so that means that they went to this far and then they went backwards and now they're going to move into new territory. So it's actually a more important point than when the planet goes direct. When it comes out of its retrograde shadow is when you actually start to understand what the whole retrograde was about. So we're talking Venus. This is our love, our self-worth, our ability to receive, you know, big energy as we talk about 2019. 2019 is the year of the pig in Chinese astrology, and it's a lot of abundance energy. It's the earth pig. So we're talking about translating the abundance of the universe into physical form. And so it's a charitable and generous energy, you know, but then that Venus retrograde was like, okay, yeah, oh, you really think you deserve that, right? Okay, yeah, you can go and just walk onto your new timeline and then, you know, do you really think you deserve that? Do you really think you can let yourself have that abundance, right? So we're getting challenged in everywhere we don't believe. Well, we're just basically where we've been stuck in the poverty programming, right? Like we all have it. It's in our lineages. It's in our, you know, we're like software and that we're like computers and that's like a bad software. And it's about lack and we don't have enough. And we know when you really tune into the spiritual world, we know it's abundant, you know? I mean, check out Mother Earth. She regenerates herself every year, just magically, right? Like we have got energy, you know, this available, but they've got us, you know, convinced that we don't have access to it. It's interesting because it's kind of like our own energy. And they tricked us into, particularly these indigo souls, into thinking that we can't handle this power or it's not a good thing. And we should probably just hand it over to them. And we're literally like, so many people are so frustrated, you know, with the way the world is not quite changing as fast as we'd like to see. But there's this energy of basically we are not willing to drop these stories like that poverty energy, you know, and like move into the truth of who we really are because of all these lots of reasons. But basically, like there's contractual loyalty. This is an energy coming up right now. Basically, the whole astrology is about you need to reset your vibration because stuff is changing. And are you ready for it? Can you handle it? Or are you addicted to these old patterns, you know? And that's where it's like we are going to stay there with everybody else where it's safe, right? And this is the deal where indigos did not come to do that. They came to step out of the paradigm, move into the higher energies, demonstrate that's possible. And it's a powerful, powerful energy. But we are kind of still stuck in this vibrational resonance of the lower frequencies, and whether or not we deserve, and whether or not we need to be loyal to our families, to our friends who are not quite ready to step over the threshold. There's just all this programming around taking these next steps. So what people are dealing with is like, not that stuff is stuck right now. Energy's moving again. But that means you got to be willing to drop the stories. So the stories that we don't want to drop, or that are, not quite fitting us anymore, are coming up for review. And it almost feels, it's like growing pains. It's like growing pains. And it's a feeling with, we still have Venus and Mercury in, or did Mercury move out of, okay, on the 13th. Okay, today, great timing. So Mercury has just moved out of Pisces, and Scorpio. We had both Venus and Mercury having just had retrogrades, finishing up their retrogrades, both in Pisces. Scorpio. The beginning and the end, like bookends of this like really intense, sensitive energy, so personal, like, oh gosh, core stuff really coming up. And it's like, it was like the final purge of this retrograde season. But once you see into these new energies of 2019 and the whole abundance vibration and the new timelines that are available, it makes sense why we've had to go through this, it makes sense of it. So the Venus retrograde for everybody, this started in about September, is about this: where do you not feel like you deserve your own light, or your gifts, or abundance, or love, or to be cared for, or to feel at home? And Venus just has this comfort energy. Now that's the energy of this pig. Pig has a lot of energy similar to Taurus. In the Chinese astrology, it's like really enjoying comforts, and there is a lucrative energy, but you can also overspend, and there's just this kind of beautiful generosity. We're going to take one little step forward towards the world we want to see this year. But there's also going to be, as you change your vibration, there's the healing crisis, and then people have to fall off they need to decide where they want to be. So I think it can be a year of really leaping ahead, but also you have to break those contracts of loyalty to the lower vibration. So that might be letting people go, new people coming in, how that happens in your life at certain times. I think that is part of the energy. So basically we're heading up into this solstice, which is going to be the official beginning. And the group session is going to be at 3:00 my time, which is 5 p.m. your time on Friday. And what we're going to do is look at that soul group energy and the soul groups that are there on the call. And this is what I've been exploring, is like these groups and how they have their stories. They have similar stories. And we're so programmed away from connecting with our group. And so it's kind of like, but like, it's part of the programming that if you go through spiritual ascension, you end up alone and isolated, that's what spiritual ascension is. And it's like, no, that's a total lie. We've been told, programming. And so also there's this, if you feel as a targeted soul that you've been like, over lifetimes persecuted, and you want to hide your light and feel safer and stay small, another soulmate, like energy group from your soul group, is going to light that stuff up, and you're going to be double the target. So in order for our soul group to come in, we've got to release these energies from these past lives and stuff that keep us blocking that connection. And so that's a lot of the work I'm moving into. And also this just fascinating story, literally like these stories around what these soul groups have gone through in these different periods of time on Earth. And so that's part of my 2019 research, my new energy too. But anyway, so this solstice is going to lead us into this new energy, because on that same day, Saturn goes out of shadow, and then we are having Mercury conjunct Jupiter. Okay, so this is really important because Mercury just did this retrograde, went from Sagittarius back to Scorpio, back to Sagittarius, where Jupiter is now. Jupiter was in Scorpio last year, started this whole Scorpio bonanza, and now we completed that with a Venus retrograde in Scorpio. So now Mercury's a messenger. Mercury's like, make sense of it, like compartmentalize, make it somehow make sense in my mind, you know, and my reality. And so Jupiter in Sagittarius and Mercury in Sagittarius conjunct this week. It's the third time that this has happened, but now Mercury is direct and coming out of its shadow. So this third and final conjunction of Mercury and Jupiter is like, okay, let's make sense of this. Really great opportunity on this solstice for things to click into place. You know that feeling when you've just been like working on stuff for so long and there's no solutions and just feels like it's impossible, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, that's why, you know, and then you can just move on to the next thing. And that's kind of what's available right now, which is kind of why I'm saying this time right now is this shift into these new energies. And so it's about resetting our vibration and allowing to vibrate at abundance and letting go of these old stories. And it's about getting clarity on like where in the heck we've been going and maybe where we're going to go in the future. And so it's a beautiful time to just kind of settle into the season and make the most of this time. So, but it's an interesting time leading up to solstice. There's no planetary aspects, basically. They're all fading away besides the Mercury and Jupiter. We'll feel that until Christmas. But like any other difficult transits and squares, we've been having a major square go on since June, probably, because Mars retrograde kept squaring Uranus, and then Venus was opposing Uranus, and then there was that grand cross, and I was like, those are tension aspects, like something's got to give, something's got to change, you're up against the wall, and we don't have any of that right now. And it's kind of like, whoa, okay, wait. And that's where the reset comes in, because you're like, wait, can I let myself, wait, is it really okay? Oh, am I feeling actually lighter? I thought I might feel like I was squeezed into like a tiny little corner for the rest of my life. And it's starting to lift, but that means we've got to face, you know, it's a good time for an adjustment, but it's also, you know, it's a time when we can fall back into the old patterns. And we want to use this momentum to claim our vibrational frequency at a higher rate. Now, this level, because that's what Jupiter and Sagittarius is about. Jupiter and Sagittarius is like, reach out and grab that. Like, it's inspiration, it's joy, it's like, oh, just life is awesome. Let's go have fun, you know? And we are so lacking in this energy. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you have to work really hard to find it, it feels like, you know? And so basically that is trying to shift for us if we can allow it. You know, if we can work through these contracts of loyalty, if we can trust in the in this new vibration, and you know, so the activation, the group session will be about clearing any programming on that level, that old stuff, and resetting the vibration and maybe getting clarity. All three of those things will probably come into it. Although I always say we're going to do this, this, and this like tonight. And, you know, we don't really get to decide. It's kind of interesting. When I first started giving presentations about maybe 10 years ago, I had this message and they were like, drop your notes, like stop with your notes, you know? And so I always have a little bit of like guidance, but when I do my videos, that's kind of the deal with, I think why they can resonate really deeply with people is because I have a basic idea of feeling energies that are going on and the astrology, but then use that to tap into the energy. So your intention, even if like say on the new moon or full moon activation, you can't be there at the live time, you can always get the replay right away at the same link, and the energy will be encoded and your questions will be, you know, that's why it sounds like I'm talking right to you, because I'm actually working through the soul group energy, I think, and like just allowing the concepts and what needs to come through for specifically your group or whoever's tuning in. That can make it a little bit chaotic sometimes, but basically, I just want to talk a tiny bit about 2019 and the themes, a little bit more about what we're getting into. We talked about the year of the Earth Pig. So it's the Yin Earth Pig for Chinese astrology. 2019, Chinese New Year's on February 5th. So, Chinese New Year is the first new year after the first new moon in the new year. And so it is, it feels more like, especially for where I live and, I'm in the, very kind of northern energy, it's like New Year's doesn't really come until you're kind of in a cave until Chinese New Year's. Like Chinese New Year's is really when a year gets going. And astrologically, that always seems to be the case. Like January is kind of like, and then you get a sense of the year's energy once you get into February. So that is this year of the Earth Pig, the Yin Earth Pig. So we've got Earth is Yin, and then we've got the Yin. Each year of the Chinese astrology, it's either the male form or the female form. And so we also have the pig, and the pig is this energy of abundance. Now, the deal with the pig is that it can feed a lot of people. And it's one of those creatures that can it just offers up this abundance. It just lives in this abundant form, and it just keeps giving this abundance. And that's kind of this energy. And with Earth, we're looking at the actual abundance in the Earth realm, because we can talk about abundance. True abundance is actually spiritual abundance. It's invisible, right? But then material wealth can be a manifestation of that. But it's also gotten far away. Material wealth has gotten so far away from spirituality. And that's one of the energies of this year. This kind of generosity, kind of like, let's live a little bit more fair and equal to each other. Let's just a good energy there. You can also, it's actually kind of, they say like a time when you can overspend giving to people, because that's just what feels really good. And doesn't the planet need that energy right now? Oh my goodness. And so the thing about the year of the pig, though, is that it's the last in the zodiac, the 12 of the zodiac signs. So it's the end of a 12-year cycle. So we're moving into new energies in 2019, but we're still adjusting. We're still completing, not adjusting so much. That was 2018. Now we're completing. And that has a lot to do with the two main transits that started last year, but will complete this year. And that's these ingresses, basically, where Uranus has switched signs. Uranus moves really slow. About every 8 years, it moves signs. And same with Chiron, moves very similar. And Chiron moved into Aries. So last spring, these planets moved into these signs, had a retrograde, moved out, and now they're out again. Then they come back. So in February, Chiron comes into Aries for good, and Uranus moves into Taurus for good. And it's like a big shift. It's a generational energy shift, right? Like we're entering a new chapter officially. And with Uranus and Taurus is about resources, all this stuff with the pig and everything. And so it's like, with Uranus is the awakener and the revolutionary. And so, there's energy around our money system changing, going back to gold-backed currency, some sort of financial reset, changing our money, economic changes. That is energy. That's Uranus and Taurus. But for the light worker, I feel like it's like shaking up those old stories about whether you're worthy, about abundance, right? About lack. So if you've been persecuted for the light that you've been trying to bring to the planet, then you feel like you don't deserve that light, and it's something to be punished, or it's a bad thing. And so then you're rejecting it, and you're rejecting your inner gifts. So there's really no separation between our inner resources and our outer wealth. Although in our world, it's very wonky, right? But ultimately, these are the same energies, like when we're talking about wealth, true wealth is our inner resources. And so, but when we fully activate our true potential and our inner resources, then financial abundance follows. It happens. It's just the law of the universe. So this is where we're trying to vibrate into this energy. It's like, okay, okay, so you've been asking and asking and asking for abundance. You want to get out of this poverty energy and whatever, you know, you want to have more money. And, but what if you could just step right through? How would you feel about the other people in your life that don't have money? Would that be fair to them? And do you feel like you have other beliefs around like, oh, money is evil, right? Or it's not spiritual, or it's dangerous to keep around. You gotta get rid of it. You don't like it, right? There's so much stuff, you know, and these old belief systems are coming up, and we've got to, like, you know, basically at the core level, get out of this lack consciousness around whether or not we can receive who we really are. Because when we're in our full potential, then we take back our life, we take back our light, we take back our planet, and, you know, we feel good. And so it doesn't even matter what we're really doing, you know, and what's really happening. But these types of timelines, your optimal timeline, and more abundant opportunities, universe support, this type of energy is trying to come in. But in order for that to do that, it's got to break down these false beliefs. And that's what we've been going through. And it will continue, you know, periods of time as we like go through this adjustment period, you know, periods of time where our stuff's really coming up, then we'll resolve and we'll feel more comfortable in the new energies and worthy of the new energies. You know, a lot of people are having a lot of symptoms right now, and it's resistance to these changes because they feel like they don't deserve, or they're scared. They're programmed with fear. There's just, you know, we're going through spiritual changes, and it's triggering people's deep subconscious fears and all kinds of stuff. It's just the nature of the time, and it'll probably continue through this next year. But it's also a very potent time because it's just being revealed to us, like all of the stuff that's been hidden in our subconscious. And this is why the past life work is so important, because we have this parallel stuff going on, bleeding into this reality. All of a sudden you're triggered, and you're in this horrible place, and you have no idea why. And you can't access any, you can't talk to anybody about it because they think you're incredibly crazy, you know? And then it's just this like, how do I move out of this place? And then you're okay for a while, and then you get triggered back into this place. And so this is what's been going on for 2018, and it'll probably continue in 2019, but there's way more energy of support available. So it's going to be different. And there's not a huge amount of major transits in this year, and meaning like angles between the planets. And so, let's see. So we're going to have Jupiter and square to Neptune, and Jupiter in Sagittarius and square to Neptune in Pisces. This is going to be some energy of tension around our dreams and visions, and our delusions, and also our spiritual issues from the past around our spiritual connection. Almost again, like, do we deserve a direct connection to God? I had this session today, and it was just so profound because there was this picture of like a past life where this person was going, and this whole soul group had had similar experiences going through an initiation process, a very strict, intense initiation, like fasting and exercises and all these tests and years of preparation, you know? And it was like, wait a minute, you came in as an initiate? Like, why are you falling for that? You know, like, and she ended up failing and dying through, in the initiation process. And this is a lot. This can be an intense energy because it's this failure. You spent your whole life going for this goal of spiritual initiation, except you're already an initiate because you're a starseed. And yet you bought into this authority energy and all these rigorous tests, and then you failed your initiation because the point was to get rid of you, not to actually initiate you. And then there's this feeling of failure along with spiritual ascension, like, and also taboo, right? It's not safe. You went too fast, or you might blow up the planet like in Atlantean time. So there's just so much of this subconscious stuff coming to the foreground. But that concept of coming through that picture of like that, these indigo souls and crystal seeds and everything, but mostly the indigo souls, they're leading the way. The early waves, the early generations, need to remember and claim back this initiate self. They don't need any training. They don't need any school. They don't need any pieces of paper. They don't need any fasting. You better meditate a lot. You better starve yourself a whole bunch, whatever you can do to get God to love you again. And it's like, ooh, this is deep. So this is part of the stuff that's coming up, and maybe it could go back to that strange origin of an ancient Egyptian lifetime of initiation. So long and the short of it, I think I've given you a lot of pieces about my work and the current energies. And so this Jupiter square Neptune is an opportunity. It's coming up of our structured religious ideas that I was just talking about, and our true dreams and our spiritual mission. Jupiter and Sagittarius is about getting back on our spiritual mission that's been thwarted perhaps for lifetimes, and claiming back that joy, claiming back that initiate status, claiming back that connection, direct connection to source. That was a threat because they wanted people indoctrinated to think that they needed to struggle, to be poor, to sacrifice, work really hard, pay tithes, and go through the church to get God. And here you are incarnating, showing up as God, as an expression of, the truth that that you're a particle of God, this expression of an initiate soul. And they're like, oh yeah, gotta get rid of her, right? She's gotta go. She's causing problems, right? And so your light, your beauty, your healing, your, gift to this world was called evil. And or something like that, and so now you're kind of like, I don't know if I want that evil, right? But you can't really move forward without claiming that part of you back. And so this picture we're coming back to again of this pure initiate self, if these souls wake up to who they are in that way, I mean, game over, game changer. This planet is just. So the other aspect that's going on, so the Jupiter square Neptune, it can be some confusion about our path. It's about our quest versus the way we've done things before, our dreams versus our delusions. And it's that is happening in, actually, I forgot to write it down here. It's happening in January and June and September. Then in January and June and November, Saturn is making a sextile with Neptune. Now, the important thing, the magic about all of this is that Saturn is in Capricorn, its home sign. Jupiter is in Sagittarius, its home sign. Neptune is in Pisces, its home sign. So these planets interacting together, this is a very harmonious one between Saturn, sextile, Neptune. And it's saying there's creative solutions here. We can build a new world. We can dream, we can build, we can, methodically go through our hard work can pay off. We can kind of have material gain for spiritual pursuits, right? This is the money landing finally. You've been doing all this energy work and the actual physical representation is not there, So basically it's a time for us to manifest our dreams. And so these two energies kind of work nicely together. And the fact that I feel like there's this whole energy, I'll probably do some work on this around 2019, one of the themes, I'll probably do a video around it, but it's this coming home energy, right? Like where did we start this conversation? The indigo souls don't feel at home on the planet. A lot of times uncomfortable. What am I doing here? Where are the other people like me? And that is about to change, right? Because we've got these three powerful, slow moving planets, in their home sign interacting with each other, right? So it's time for the light workers to come home. And that's funny because I did a session the other day and this woman is funny. She was like, we talked about past lives and stuff and future, but she's like, I don't want to come back to the earth, I am done here, and I was, and the message that came through around that was like, okay, that's great. You're done here, but you can't really get out of here until you come here, and that's part of the indigo story is that they haven't fully incarnated. They haven't fully arrived because the energies on the planet have not been able to host them, you know, but this is changing. This is part of this shift, this Uranus into Taurus, this vibrational adjustment of the earth energies, and Chiron into Aries. Aries is about empowerment of the individual, and kind of it has this energy of like standing up for yourself. And so Saturn and Capricorn, claiming our own authority, coming out of those religious stories of the Piscean age and being like, hey, you know, I don't need to play by your rules. You know, like I'm hooked up. I don't need to feed off of you. I don't need to, you know, I can be on my path and fully self-sufficient and autonomous. And that is a very different world too. So Jupiter has not been home to Sagittarius for 12 years. Saturn has not been home to Capricorn for 29 years. Neptune has not been home to Pisces for 164 years. So the three of them together is kind of a big deal. And interacting, you know, one square, it's tension and delusions and confusion, you know, but then a sextile, which is like creative solutions. We can work this out, you know, we can make this happen, you know, adjustments, just little adjustments and making it work. So that is the energy of 2019 and the energy of moving up into 2019 and taking the time to just pay attention, watch the videos, maybe do an activation here and there as we move into these new energies can help a lot to reset your vibration so you can receive and land these optimal timelines in your life and abundance and the life you dream of, and get ready for new energies. A lot of light workers are feeling like, you know, I did not come, frustration, you know, I did not come here to struggle. I know I didn't. And, but then there's this loyalty to this, to the collective and to the suffering on the planet. Like, okay, sure, you're just going to walk away then. So, but we know it's not right and it's not needed and it's not necessary. And so we've got to claim our right to raise our vibrational frequency and demonstrate what's possible instead of staying down in the mucky muck with the collective, you know? And so it's a challenging time on that level, but also really exciting, and it's going to pay off. Saturn and Capricorn is about hard work paying off, and that sextile is about the spiritual gains from hard work, spiritual material gains from spiritual work, and gains from hard work paying off, right? And it's about time for that, probably. Okay, so anyway, I think I blabbered on long enough. And does anybody want to have any specific questions?
I do.
Hey.
Melania here. Hey, thank you so much for that. You know, just a couple things I want to tap on. You know, when Uranus went into Aries 7 years ago, I literally, like, looking back over the last 7 years, I sold everything I owned and bought this travel trailer and left my entire life behind and went on this healing journey. And I feel the energy moving into Taurus is like a more grounding, and I can really resonate with what you're saying in regards to that calling inside. And there's a video that you did recently where you had said that calling in you is, you're not imagining it. Like that's real, that calling in you. And you talk a lot about that feeling like you don't belong here. And I recently really sat with those, like, feeling through this big cancer scare of, do I want to be here anymore? Like, what is the point? Like, I don't make a difference, but there's this longing and this calling in me to, like, I am Aries City. Like, I'm here. I'm a system buster. Like, I'm here to break down the false. And but what's the point? I don't make any difference here. And like, and then really sitting with that, a lot of your videos helped. So I really advise you guys to follow Adrian. Her videos really tap into you personally. And then now I'm feeling this sense for 2019 of I feel something big is coming, but I don't feel any fear in me about it. There's like this grounding feeling coming in of like, we're ready. We've prepared for this all these lifetimes, like kind of an excitement, like, yay, let's do this. And I'm just wondering, are you feeling that too? That sense of like that clarity coming in for that movement you talked about, for that inner purpose, and like, are you feeling more of, because I am, of like, I do belong here. I came here. I'm here on purpose with purpose. And I may not even know exactly what to do with that, but I do know what I'm not going to do anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's exactly it. This leap of faith we're being asked to make. Like, we don't know exactly what we're moving into, but we know what it feels like and what we know the world should feel like and what's right and true, and owning that and living that. And because it's like you said, there's this something inside of you that you want to express. And when we're not able, I mean, how frustrating for this light worker going through so much to be here on the planet and having so many skills and awesome energy for the world, and like nobody wants it. You know, like the feeling of like there's nowhere to put all of this energy. I thought it was a good thing, but you know, now that it's festering inside of me, making me sick, maybe it's not a good thing, you know. So that shift of like moving into expressing those things and stepping on that path, and you know, yeah. So awesome that you're feeling that. I'm feeling it too. And I think it's important to know though, that as much as that's coming in, we're going back and forth, right? You know? So if you feel like you all of a sudden, wait a minute, like I'm back in this old stuff again, it's just showing you that vibrational, that, you know, it's connected to some false belief and it's coming up to be released. So, yeah, but I am thinking this real shift of when we're really going to move into it more will be when Uranus goes into Taurus for good, and that's in March. So March, spring equinox, that's going to be a time of, you know, kind of we'll kind of be like, okay, you know, maybe a little more comfortable with the energetic reset and where we're going and all that. So anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I do. So you said to focus on raising your vibrational frequency. So if I was a total newbie and I was like, well, how the heck do you do that? What would you suggest to me?
Yeah, what does it even mean, right?
Yeah.
You know? Well, I think that's a lot of misunderstanding comes around that energy. And it's like, oh, of course, that sounds good. I think we should do that, right? You know? But then we kind of find ourselves, we don't really know what it means. We don't know how to do it. But to me, it's like, if you're feeling light and free and connected and in the moment, and, you know, it's just so few of us have access to this in this life right now, because, you know, just in general with people, because it's so busy and technology and everything. But, you know, that is higher vibrational, and lower vibrational is when we're like stuck in our head, replaying old stories, hating ourselves, feeling yucky, feeling depressed. That's the lower matrix energies, right? And we're kind of going back and forth from these places because we're cleansing out the stuff. So what I have found to really help my vibration is a few things, and it's really simple actually, but nature is really, really good, because like I said, it's the opposite energy of the technology energy that's pulling us away from our true self, you know? And it kind of feels like even a small amount of nature can like help you clear the energies of other people. This is a lot of what brings our energy vibration down. Is it, as empaths, we're so sensitive and we take on energy of the collective, and then all of a sudden we're like, and it's almost that loyalty thing, like I need to feel bad because they're feeling bad, and you don't even know who they are. But you're still feeling bad because you know, it's these contracts you might have with them or something like that. And this is across the board for indigo, is just being so energetically sensitive. So clearing your energy field in whatever way you can do is really, really important. That's what my classes are about. I have intuitive training, and it's about holding your psychic space, having boundaries, learning how to see in pictures, and, you know, access your guidance in a really safe way. But drinking water, plenty of water is really important, and plenty of rest. And if you can do those three things, like, and of course, meditation is always great, but it's really what we want to be able to try to achieve, as many moments of meditation in the moment throughout our day, you know, just to bring yourself back to like, oh, this is happening right now. Like one of my teachers I work with, he was talking about how, do you even remember, okay, so say we were really stressed out about something yesterday and you were having an emotional, you know how we get into that lower vibration where we're like, oh, you know, and it's like, okay, so what was that about? Do you remember? Like, do you remember exactly what we're experiencing all this stuff and we feel like it's stuck, like we're in it, and we're not, we're moving through it. And so it's really interesting to think about it that way, and think about when you're really in it and you go find yourself in that place and be like, wait, am I going to remember even what I was feeling yesterday, like tomorrow? Okay, is this really going to matter in 10 years? Like, is this like, and just that immediately brings you back to the now moment. Like, that's all we have, right? If we're just experiencing these things, and I mean, of course, if you have a big problem you've been working on every single day and you're stuck in it, you're going to remember, right? But in general, we move through these things and they resolve, but we attach to them like it's the truth of who we are, but it's just something we're experiencing. So anyway, as many moments as you can to come into the now moment, even if it's just for me and my coaching, I'll do a 5-minute meditation for them, like just a guided meditation for their own personal use in between sessions. And the idea is that if you can find 5 minutes, which all of us can find 5 minutes, right? Like, you can find 5 minutes, and that might need to be all you need. So it's kind of a challenge, right? Like, and instead of being like, oh, I can't meditate, I don't have time to meditate, I can't settle my mind, I can't, do you have 5 minutes? And if you practice that more and more, so you can use the recording for a while, but then it'll get easier and easier, and just be like, cool. And even if it takes you 4.5 minutes to find the present moment, eventually, you'll be able to enjoy the full 5 minutes in the moment. But anyway, the moment and self-care and nature is really what helps. Of course, any type of practice is also useful, but those are the things that I've found. And clearing your psychic space of other people's energy. And one really simple thing you can do, which is actually a great way to come into awareness of how much energy you're carrying of other people, is that there's like a little mantra, I release all that's not mine. And you say it just 3 times, and just notice what you notice. And if you all of a sudden feel lighter, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like trying to solve this, so, grandma's or some random person down the street's issues for them. And I didn't even know I was doing it, and I'm taking on their energy. So anyway, those are the main factors. We're really inundated right now in this world with technology, vibration, and toxins and all this stuff, And so it does take a little bit more self-care to maintain your higher vibration, but it's there.
Awesome.
And I think it will get easier and easier. We're gone through a threshold where it'll get easier. So.
Thank you. That was great. That was an awesome answer. Yeah. And I know exactly what you mean on the nature connections. Even just today, I just had to take a walk, went up the hill, looked over the pond at my papa's pond. And just 5 minutes there, I was like, okay, I've been cleansed. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. It kind of does it for you.
Amazing.
And just even if it's a little bit of nature, you can't really get out. But if you talk to the nature, say, hey, I see you and I recognize you, I feel your energy. And they're like, yeah. And they'll help clear your field, the trees and the grass and the,
Yeah. Awesome. Totally amazing. So if someone is new, like I am an astrology newbie, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. And I don't. Sometimes when I listen to your videos, it's like another language that I don't understand. Yeah. But then it still all comes in alignment. Like, but what this means is,
And I try to explain, I try to slow down and explain at least the basic concepts around each thing as I go, but I can see it coming across as total gobbledygook. But I think that so many people have followed me for years that have no interest, have never studied any further of astrology, but they just are getting the intuitive snippets. So if you just let that stuff roll over that you don't understand, you'll get the message, right? Because I kind of talk about the element and then the message. And so you can just, if you're okay with not understanding it, then the energy, and it's also like in energy waves, right? It's not so much what I'm saying as it's kind of like a transmission, So
Yeah, that's what I feel is like sometimes I don't understand what you're saying, but I get the message, and the messages are always like exactly what I needed to hear, exactly what I was feeling, and I'm like, I have no idea why or what this means, but it's true. So I'm going to pay attention to it, and it just kind of draws my awareness back to what I'm feeling, what I know. I remember I was sitting in a planetarium. We did it in Nashville, and they did, the stars 360 in the room all around you. And they take you through like the years in the solar system and what's happening in the planets. And I just remember, this was just a few months ago, looking at it thinking, wow, like seeing these planets go around the horoscope sign. I was like, this is like next level stuff that we're never taught. No one ever teaches us this, but it's been practiced and believed for, since the beginning of time, since all these planets have been moving in these cycles for so long.
Yeah.
And we're just like scratching the surface of what the power of the universe is.
Yeah. And the traditional astrology is kind of like, well, this is what's happening, so this is what we're stuck with. And I see it totally differently. And that's actually why I studied astrology when I was really young, but I didn't really come into this until I was older, as far as sharing it and doing charts and stuff. And because I see astrology very differently, that the planets and the signs are constant, they're energies, and they're talking to us. It's messages, right? And are we going to listen and get clarity about what's going on, or we can ignore it? It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's affecting us regardless. But it's kind of cool because it's not about like, oh, you're destined to have this happen to you. It's about, here's a message, and this is how to make this energy work, and it's kind of fun. It's like a dance with the universe, So Judy, did you have a question?
Beautiful. I just want to thank you for articulating all of these feelings and all, I'm going to say her name wrong, Layla. You're spot on. I'm there with you. I feel like I've been prepared. I've been just the enormous amount of growth for the past, I'm going to say 6 years, but I know it's much longer than that. For this, I feel like I'm on the cusp of something really exciting. I'm getting downloads of just wonderful information and connections with new people, and we're moving. I mean, we're moving into from a place where there was a cloud over us for a long time, lots of debt, lots of despair and guilt and anger and hurt, and that's all been lifted, and now we're being rewarded. It's like, okay, now I get it. We deserve this life. We've been given a life on a silver platter that's going to be surrounded by nature, surrounded by people that are going to get me a new start, and it's all just boom, 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 everywhere I look. And I think it's because I've worked on releasing those negative beliefs and focusing on the visualizing of what I want my future to be like, and believing in it, and believing that I can give and give and give and lift other people up without feeling lack from myself, without feeling like they're taking something from me, because there's more than enough for everyone, and I can receive everything that I deserve and feel that confidence that it's really happening. Yeah, it's
awesome, Judy.
So good right now. And I'm grateful. I wake up grateful. And I used to be chronically depressed and everything else. So to feel
that's kind of how it is. It's kind of like breaking through, once you break through, then you can claim that world that is more true than the lower vibration. But it's like, so, and that's kind of where people are at, going in between right now,
Yeah,
so
it's beautiful. It's fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah, well, it's great. You can be there and show people what's possible,
And I love what you talk about, about how it does sometimes feel like you can feel that awesome, like Judy's feeling, like, oh, it's so amazing, and then suddenly it's like,
yeah, you're back in it. Yeah.
Usually someone else's energy. Yeah, someone else's energy will do it in a heart and just a second, and you'll be sucked back in.
Yeah, so it's been really I feel like it's really taught me a lot about being okay with the dips, being okay with the valleys, and taking what I need from them as well, rather than just constantly trying to get out of the dips, but actually sitting in them and being like, okay, what am I supposed to be, what's happening? Why is this happening? And how am I going to move forward, move through it, and be okay with it?
Yep.
You know, Layla, I'm really glad you said that. I think that is really powerful for everyone to hear. I myself have really come into this knowing that, and it's interesting that you said this. This is so perfect because you asked the question about vibration, and I love the advice that Adrian gave. Like, and I just moved back to nature, but you know, I'm really coming into this knowing that just being where I'm at and really courageously, vulnerably, just being where I'm at and saying where I'm at and not trying to escape those dips or pretend that they're not existing, I'm learning is bringing nothing but love into that space. And to me, I feel I'm in my highest vibration when I bring love into those low places and shine light into those dark spaces within me without trying to put on some front or pretend that I'm something I'm not or feeling differently than I am. And I feel my vibration just increase immensely when I allow myself that honest expression, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And it is a journey, right? You know, so, and the reason why you've gone through what you've gone through is because you're going to be able to be there for people like you're doing right now and be like, hey, I remember I was there and you can do this. Just, you know, look, you know, it's possible. So awesome work. What a great group, you guys. I got to get going soon.
Thank you so much.
Heard from everybody. Melissa, did you want to, do you have a question or want to say anything?
Yeah, sure. I think one of my questions for me is that I'm coming off of eventually a maternity leave. So I'm finding myself struggling a little bit with direction. I am actually a nurse, and I love my job. I do, but it is very, as you imagine, straining and tiring. So I'm kind of looking at possible career changes, and I just don't know if there's anything, like if this year would be a good year to make a move or anything along those lines.
Yeah, well, we could definitely address that in a private session. You know, you can do it through astrology, check out your transits, what you had in mind for your lifetime with this, with the package of your gifts and skills in your birth chart, what might be kind of holding you back or in your past life. And then the intuitive session would go more into past lives and clearings and stuff like that. But timing wise, you know, this spring was going to be really good for new opportunities. So keep an eye open for stuff. Just keep open, right? Like stuff we would just gone through, the inner work is not making sense yet, but it will soon. So yeah. But
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I've got to get going, but it's such a great group. You guys are all so amazing and such great energy. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll definitely share your information for your group session because I think that just sounds so powerful, so awesome. And if you're watching the replay and you want more details on working with Adrian and getting some of her intuitive sessions, I'll put her website in the links in the comments below when we upload the replay. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, Yahweh Miigwech. We really appreciate your time. And
thank you so much. Wonderful.
Thank you. Have fun. Have fun at your party.
Meet you.
Yeah,
thanks for taking
so
the time.
off to the holiday party.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
ladies.
Bye.
Bye.